And this is the way it was. I thought, how nice to have an acre of land, a pond, a canoe, a guitar, and a woman to serenade to. The perfect the perfect idea of being a famous poet. That's what I was going to do. And I didn't know where to start. I said, Dear God, what do I do? How am I going to learn this? My teachers have given me the lowest grade in poetry. What do I do? And he says, go to the public library and look at the benches in front of the library. I said, okie doke, God. And it was mental, it was not verbal that I heard. So I went to the Louisville Public Library and I went in front, and pigeons was dropping poop on me. And I saw three men. And I've mentioned this throughout other videos, but not in this kind of detail. That I went up to them and they had legal pads and they had a notebook with a sparrow on the side, and another one just had napkins. And I said, "Are you all attorneys?" These were the bench in front or on the side of the Louisville Public Library. I said, "Are you attorneys?" They said, "No, we never made it through high school. We write. We, we write things that people buy." I said, "That's the kind of job I'd like to have, but do I have to drop out of high school?" They said, "No, no, school has nothing to do with writing. You learned how to write in the elementary school, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Why do you think you got to go to school to make money writing?" I said, "Teach me." So they said, "I want you to go into the library, and I want you to go to the poetry section, and I want you to go start at the A's, the authors with the A's, and you're going to go to the Z's. And I want you to open every book, and I'd like for you to uh, see if you can relate to the poems. If it just hits you, that you identify with it, you relate to it, and then take that idea with you, take that inspiration back home and write a poem. But don't just write one poem. I want you to you can take out as many books as you want to each week. So I want you to take out several books, take them home, read them, and then the things that you could have said out of your own voice without reading it, I want you to make a poem out of that. Not using their words, but using your own words. And then we're going to give you the next step next week. Well, I'll come back next week. I'm real hyped. And they said, we want you to do it again. We're going to do this 3 weeks in a row. And we're going to tell you what to do next to make money writing. So I said, okay, that sounds like a good deal. And they said, please don't tell your teacher you're doing this, because the teacher will tell you you can't make money writing. Okay, great. Won't tell them. So after 3 weeks, I showed them my own stuff, and they said, this is better than the guy that wrote the book. Those books you've been reading, you're writing better than them. Uh, you're picking topics of relating to people, of uh, dreaming big dreams that you want to come true? I said, this. They said, you know how to relate to people as if they're talking to you, or you're talking to them, or you're dating them. And they said, just keep on, just keep on. And now we're going to give you, on this third visit, we're going to tell you how to do this. You're going to have to make a copy. And at that time, it was carbon copies. I type it up, double spaced, on typing paper with a carbon ribbon, a carbon page, so I have a copy left. I would send they told me send 3 to 4 poems per envelope, because you can do that with a one stamp. So fold your poems to 3 or 4 in thirds, put them in a legal size envelope. Do I have one here? No, but it's a number 10 business size envelope. The things you get junk mail in. And put a stamp on the self-addressed envelope that you put inside. So you can put 3 to 4 pages in, one envelope folded in thirds with a stamp on it, with your address on it, so they can send back the rejected ones, and then send them out. And okay, I said, what magazines? Harper, New Yorker, for starters. But just so you'll get some success, immediately there's a lot of little magazines going around right now. They're put out by street people that beatniks. They have their own underground newspapers. They're underground newspapers, and they give them away sometimes on a street corner, or sell them for $1. You want to get published in those, and start feeling good about it. And as you polish up your poems, you're going to find out that Harper's and the New Yorkers and all those other big magazines will reject you. One time, you send them 3 to 4 more poems, they'll reject you again, and then you do it again, and you'll get an acceptance with $25, or maybe if it's a small magazine, it might be $5, or it could be more. I said, why does it take so long to get published in these? Well, first of all, you have to write for their audience. So you have to luck into that. And the way to do that is read what poems are publishing. And whatever poems you can write that hit that audience, those are the ones to send. Number 2, they said, occasionally one will drop out. One of their regular writers will die, stop writing, decide that they're not going to do it anymore. They're going to switch to a different hobby like painting. So, your poems come in when they drop out, and they say, well, let's take a couple of these poems. It may be your 3rd or 4th time sending to the New Yorker or Harper's or whatever. But if you don't keep on, you ain't going to make it. We're telling you The truth. The truth you won't hear from any teacher whatsoever, even in college, if you make it that far. Well, make a long story short, I did that. And it wasn't the big magazines that rejected me. I got published in small magazines. They're called literary magazines. I did get published in religious magazines because mine was about relationships. So I sent them to all the Christian magazines, the Baptist. They had several. One was called Event, EVENT, and they always bought my poems, but I only got $5 to $25 for each one. They were from Nashville. I don't know if they're still around or not. But I'm just telling you that because once I stopped getting rejected by them, I started getting accepted every time I sent poems to them. And that's just one example. There were other religious magazines. If I could get a sample, I would read and see what type of poems they published, and I would gear mine toward that subject and send it to them, and success would be around the corner. Then in 1969, I published my first book. I borrowed money. It was called When Twilight Begins. You may or may not be able to find that on Amazon, but the second one was called I Believe in Love, and both of them were 1,000 copies, self-published. And then I kept on trying, and then I published a book. I'm looking to see if I have it over here, called Touching You, Touching Me. And the book sold out within weeks after I better say longer than weeks. I put it in all the bookstores in Bowling Green area, Kentucky, and other stores in Kentucky. There was Walden Books, B. Dalton bookstores, things like that, college bookstores. And then I kept reprinting it. And till we got seven printings of it. And while that was being reprinted all the time, and when I say a printing, I'm talking about a minimum of 5,000 copies to 12,000 copies per printing. And I was sending them samples to Walden bookstores and B. Dalton bookstores, along with an order form, and that's how I got it going. And then I would send nice ads to other countries that had English-speaking books, and they would take a chance on me, and then reorders would come in. And let's see, here's a couple right now. The Autumn of Love, for example. I'm showing this to you to let you know that what I'm talking about is the Summer of Love. That I'm not just feeding a bunch of nonsense to you. The Winter of Love. Isn't that a nice cover? So anyhow, I spoke over where I was invited, bookstores, for signings of books during Christmas and Mother's Day and Valentine's Day, and I was invited to universities, colleges, things like that. Not many, but several. And that's the way that I got into writing and publishing. Now, let me tell you this. I gave up on major publishers. They're too hard to crack. There's too many people trying to hit the Doubleday, Random House, Macmillan, and those type, Barnes and Noble. So I would publish them myself and hire distributors, book distributors of independent books. I would, along with that, was Ingram Book Company and Baker and Taylor. There was Associated Booksellers, and Associated Booksellers went into all the bookstores, independent bookstores, and sold books by independent publishers. So we had all that going, and then that's just the start of how it happened, that I got the books distributed. And I wanted to thank you for visiting me. And I share this to let you know how it was back in the 60s and 70s, but not how it is now. You will know that the computer age has come, and that Amazon has a book on demand where you can upload your PDF file for free and have your books listed on Amazon. But I'll tell you this, you'll be lucky to sell a few books unless you know how to have the money and knowledge to promote and market your books on the internet. So this is the start of how it was, and then I just told you how it is now. You have to use social media, and there's probably several YouTubes on helping you with social media, selling on that. There's, of course, numerous books on how to publish your own book. But I want you to hear from a real live person that that did a little bit and can tell you that, yeah, you can do it. But it's going to take a lot of time and effort. And it's got to be a passion. It's got to be not only a passion, but it's going to be a focus of what you concentrate on each day. Thanks for listening. You take care.